Today I will show you how to make a delicious meal with air-fried salmon, coconut rice and a homemade coleslaw that has only a third of the calories of the regular version. First thing first, let's make the coconut rice. Start by putting 60 grams of raw rice into a bowl. This is usually the amount I make for one serving. Add cold water and then massage the rice to release all the excess starch. I honestly don't wash my rice most of the time, but for this meal it's very important because the added coconut could otherwise result in a sticky mess. Wash it once or twice until the water is not super cloudy anymore, and then add the rice to a bowl on a scale. Next you will need 30 grams of coconut cream. You might also find coconut milk at the grocery store. It's the same thing but with less coconut and more water. You can use either for this recipe. I added 30 grams of coconut cream with 120 grams of water. If you use coconut milk, you will need to add 60 grams of milk and 90 grams of water. Also add a pinch of salt. This is important so the rice isn't overly sweet. Then add it in the stove on high heat, and as soon as it starts to boil, close the lid, reduce the heat to low and let it simmer for 15 minutes. In the meantime, let's make the coleslaw. Here I have 250 grams of green cabbage. You can also use red cabbage or a combination of both, it's up to you. Just try to cut it into very fine pieces, almost as if you are shredding the cabbage. Now if you make coleslaw with raw cabbage, you might end up with a watery consistency because the cabbage loses a lot of water when combined with the sauce. To prevent that, add the cabbage into a bowl and now add in a pinch of salt, give everything a toss and now let this sit here for 5 to 6 minutes. This process is called osmosis. What it does is it extracts the water from the cabbage to the outside of the vegetable, and now you can simply put the cabbage on a paper towel and pat it dry, and now you will get a soft cabbage that will not end up soupy at all. So the main component for the dressing is usually mayonnaise. The thing with mayo is that it's super high in calories, about 700 per 100 grams. So the obvious substitute here is light mayo. You can also find it as salad cream or light cream, which has less than a third of the calories of regular mayo. You can also use Miracle Whip. There's a balanced version with fewer calories. I personally don't really like the taste of Miracle Whip, so that's up to you. Lastly, you can use 2% fat Greek yogurt. In my opinion, the 2% fat version tastes much better than the 0% fat and has only 15 more calories, so it's well worth it. I'm going to use light mayo, so add 25 grams of it to the bowl, followed up by 15 grams of sriracha for some heat, and finally 5 grams of honey. This coleslaw will not only add volume but also serve as the sauce for the entire dish. It tastes amazing on top of rice. Next is the fish. Here I have a beautiful piece of salmon. So even though this fish is high in calories, it's packed with unsaturated fats, making it a very healthy option overall. Cut the salmon into thick chunks, about 2.5 cm 1 inch. Cutting it into pieces increases the surface area for seasoning, adding much more flavor, but you can also leave the salmon in one piece if you prefer. Transfer it to a bowl and add 4 grams or 1 teaspoon of olive oil, a quarter teaspoon each of garlic powder and cayenne pepper, a pinch of salt and freshly ground black pepper. Stir to coat everything evenly with the seasoning and then take out your air fryer. I like to preheat the air fryer for 3 minutes before adding the salmon, then set the timer to 8 minutes and air fry at 200 degrees Celsius or 400 F. By this stage, the rice should be ready as well, and the smell alone makes it worth the effort to make this. Take out a bowl, add the rice as the bottom layer, and then place all of the coleslaw on top. As I mentioned, the coleslaw also serves as the sauce. The mayo and sriracha combination tastes beautifully with the coconut flavor. Lastly, place the air-fried salmon on top of the rice, and there you have it, a delicious meal made in about 20 minutes from start to finish. The macros for the entire thing are 760 calories, 69 grams of carbs, 38 grams of fat, and 40 grams of protein. One last thing, I made a cookbook with over 220 recipes at this point. All the recipes are low in calories and high in protein. I put a ton of work in this book, it's very affordable, and you will get every recipe update for free once you bought it. The link is in the description.